Galaxy's deadliest creature broke containment, found sleeping on the human's lap. Ships arrived from many parts of the galaxy, carrying scientists, explorers, and security teams. The station was built to study strange creatures from distant worlds. Some of these creatures were dangerous, and some were thought to be impossible to control. The most feared creature of all had been captured only a few years ago. It was called the Nightmaw, a name whispered with fear by every species. It was said to be the deadliest being anyone had ever seen. No ship, no planet, no weapon could stop it if it wanted to destroy. Inside the lab where it was kept, the Nightmaw was in a tall, reinforced glass chamber. The walls were made of special alloy, stronger than steel, designed to hold anything. The creature had been fed carefully, monitored constantly, and never let out of sight. Alarms had sounded before, but they had been false. Everyone thought they knew how to keep it under control. Luke Carter, a young human technician, worked in the power bay of the station. The power bay was far from the main labs. Luke liked being alone there. He liked the quiet hum of machines. He checked wires, circuits, and energy cells, making sure everything worked. He did not know that at this moment, something incredible was happening on the other side of the station. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed in long hallways. A loud voice spoke over the station intercom. "Attention all personnel, containment breach in Sector 9. All staff evacuate immediately." Luke froze for a moment. The words made his stomach turn. He had heard alarms before, but never for the Nightmaw. He grabbed his communicator and tried to reach the security team. Static filled the line. He frowned. Clearly, the station's communication was jammed by the emergency. He looked up and saw a red warning light blinking above him. Security teams ran past him, shouting orders. Some were armed with stun blasters. Others carried reinforced nets. Robots rolled past, carrying extra restraints and energy cages. Everyone was moving fast, but fear was written on their faces. Luke left the power bay quickly. He followed the emergency lights down narrow corridors. He passed other scientists and technicians, all running in panic. The air smelled of ozone and heated metal. Smoke hissed from a vent, and Luke ducked to avoid it. He tried to imagine what the Nightmaw would do. It had not attacked the station before. It had stayed in its chamber, calm, almost mysterious. But now something had changed. The creature was loose, somewhere inside the massive station. The hallways were long, twisting, and filled with doors. Luke had studied the station map many times. He knew the shortest path to the observation lounge. That was where they usually kept smaller creatures, where scientists could watch them safely. He did not know why, but he felt drawn to that area. It was strange because it was far from his job. He moved fast, careful not to trip over fallen tools. As he ran, the station shook. Loud bangs echoed from the far end of the corridor. Security officers yelled. Some ran backward, pointing stun blasters in every direction. Luke's heart pounded. He had never been this close to true danger. The Nightmaw was said to be the size of 3 humans stacked together. Its skin was black and reflective, almost like polished stone. Its claws could cut through the strongest metals. Its eyes glowed like red lanterns. The stories alone made the hair on his arms stand up. He turned a corner and saw doors that had been smashed. Panels hung loose from the walls. A trail of sparks ran along the floor. Luke realized that the creature had gone this way. He slowed down, hiding behind a support beam. He peered around. The hallway was empty, quiet, too quiet. He remembered something his father had told him. His father had worked with dangerous animals back on Earth. He had said, "Fear makes them worse. Calm makes them listen." Luke repeated the words in his head. He tried to breathe slowly to feel calm. He was terrified, but he had to think clearly. A sudden movement caught his eye. A shadow flickered across the wall ahead. Luke froze. He could see the shape of the Nightmaw's massive tail sliding along the floor. Sparks flew as it brushed against broken wires. It stopped. Then he saw its head, large, triangular, with eyes glowing softly in the dim light. The creature sniffed the air, making a low, rumbling sound. Luke's heart raced, but he did not move. He remembered his father's words again. Slowly, he knelt down a little, showing that he was not a threat. He spoke softly. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you," he said, voice low and even. The nightmaw tilted its head. It blinked. Its claws made soft marks on the floor as it stepped closer. Luke stayed still, trying not to breathe too loudly. The creature's eyes studied him, then moved around the corridor. It made no sudden moves. Luke's stomach was in knots. He had been told that the nightmaw never trusted anyone, that no one had ever calmed it before. Minutes passed. He did not know if it was 5 seconds or 5 hours. The station shook again, but this time the nightmaw did not run. It simply looked at him. Luke felt a strange connection. Fear was there, yes, but also awe. He had never seen anything like this. No human, no alien had ever spoken to the nightmaw face to face. Behind him, footsteps came. Security officers approached cautiously. They raised their weapons, ready to fire. Luke waved his hand slowly. "Wait, don't shoot, it's not attacking," he said. The officers stopped, unsure. They looked at the massive creature and then at Luke. Something in his calm voice made them hesitate. The nightmaw moved again, this time circling Luke slowly. It sniffed the air, then made a soft, low sound, almost like a purr. The officers held their breath. They had never heard anything like this from the beast. Luke reached out slowly, palm open. The creature stopped in front of him. It looked at his hand, then back at his face. For the first time, someone could see the nightmaw was not just a monster. It was intelligent. It understood in its own way that Luke meant no harm. The technicians and officers around him whispered to each other. No one could believe what was happening. The deadliest creature in the galaxy, loose on a space station, was calm. Calm because a human had chosen patience over panic. Luke stayed still. He let the creature move closer. It sniffed his sleeve, its hot breath brushing against his arm. Sparks fell from a broken wire above, but it did not flinch. Luke smiled nervously. He did not know if he could control the situation, but he did know one thing: he could not run. He could not fight. He had to remain calm, even as the station screamed around them. And in that moment, Luke realized that the galaxy would remember this day forever. Not for the alarms, not for the destruction, but for a human who stood quietly, facing the deadliest creature ever known, and did not run. The station was still in chaos. Alarms rang in every corridor. Red lights blinked, casting long shadows on walls and floors. Technicians, scientists, and security officers ran back and forth, trying to understand what had happened. Somewhere in the distance, a loud crash made the entire station tremble. The nightmaw was still loose, and no one knew where it was going. Luke Carter walked carefully through a quieter section of the station. He kept his eyes on the ground, stepping over broken panels and spilled tools. He moved slowly but steadily, speaking softly to himself, trying to stay calm. He could still feel the heat from the alarms, and the distant rumble of the station's engines made his heart pound. Yet, he felt something unusual. He had a strange pull, as if something was calling him to a particular place. Instinct told him to go toward the observation lounge. The observation lounge was at the end of a long corridor. Normally, it was full of scientists watching small alien creatures through glass tanks. Today, it was empty. Luke opened the door slowly, expecting chaos. He stopped in shock. The room was calm, impossibly calm. And there it was, the nightmaw. The massive creature was lying on the floor, its head resting on Luke's lap. Its huge body curled around the lounge, taking up most of the space. Its tail stretched along the wall, and even its claws rested gently on the ground. The glowing red eyes were closed. Soft, even breaths came from its mouth. It was sleeping. Luke froze. He could not believe it. The deadliest creature in the galaxy, known to destroy anything that crossed its path, was sleeping peacefully on him. His arms were trembling. He did not move. He did not want to wake it. Somehow the creature had chosen to trust him. Behind him, the door opened. Security officers and scientists entered cautiously, weapons raised. They stopped immediately, staring in disbelief. One officer, a tall human named Ben Parker, whispered, Is it sleeping?" Another scientist, a xenobiologist named Claire Bennett, stepped closer. She had studied dangerous species for decades. Her eyes were wide. "I've never seen anything like this," she said. "It should be aggressive, attacking, even panicking, but it's calm. It trusts him." Luke kept his voice low. "It's okay," he said softly, more to himself than anyone else. It just needed someone who didn't scare it." Ben lowered his weapon slowly, still staring at the massive beast. How are you doing this?" he asked, amazed. Luke shrugged. "I don't know. I didn't try to control it. I didn't shout or chase it or make it afraid. I just waited and spoke softly." He reached out, gently brushing his hand over the nightmaw's snout. The creature stirred slightly but did not wake. It exhaled slowly as if content. The room fell silent. The alarms outside continued, but inside the observation lounge everything seemed still. The scientists whispered to each other. They could not believe what they were seeing. For years, the nightmaw had been feared. Entire species had built weapons in case it ever broke free. Now here it was, lying peacefully on a human's lap. Claire bent down and studied the creature closely. Its breathing is normal. Its heart rate is steady. It's comfortable. It's never been comfortable around anyone before. She looked at Luke. "Humans, you are very different. You don't show fear the way others do. Maybe that's why it trusts you." Luke looked at the creature's glowing black skin. Its scales reflected the soft light of the room. "I don't know," he said quietly. "I just didn't try to fight it. I think it can feel if someone wants to hurt it." Ben shook his head. "This is impossible. Every record says it should attack immediately, destroy anything in reach. But it's calm, safe, with you." A small alien scientist named Vorak, who had 4 arms and bright blue skin, stepped forward carefully. He studied the nightmaw's claws. "This is incredible," he said. "Never in history has the nightmaw trusted another species. Yet a human, it seems to recognize you as different." Luke smiled nervously. He had never thought of himself as special. He had just been following instinct. "Maybe humans evolved to handle dangerous things without hurting them," he said. "We learned to be patient." The creature shifted slightly, resting its massive head more comfortably on Luke's lap. Its tail moved gently, brushing the floor like a soft wave. Luke felt the warmth of its body, the slow, deep breathing. It was alive, powerful, and yet peaceful. The security officers whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads in disbelief. One said, "If it can behave like this with a human, what else are we misunderstanding about dangerous species?" Luke looked around the room at all the eyes watching him and the creature. No one moved too fast. No one spoke loudly. The peace in the room was fragile. One wrong step could wake the nightmaw. Yet everyone was too curious, too amazed to move away. After a few minutes, Claire spoke again. "We need to understand this. We have studied this creature for years. It was feared across the galaxy. And yet, here it is, trusting a human. We might have been wrong about everything." Luke's hands rested gently on the nightmaw's head. "Maybe we just don't know how to be calm," he said softly. "Maybe it's not the creature that's the problem." The officers nodded slowly. Even Ben Parker, the tough security officer, lowered his weapon completely. He looked at Luke with a mix of awe and respect. You did something no one else could. No one. This is unbelievable." The nightmaw stirred again. It lifted one claw and rested it lightly on Luke's arm. Luke froze, but the creature did not move aggressively. It was a gesture, almost like a handshake showing trust. The humans and aliens in the room gasped. They had never seen a creature this powerful behave with such gentleness. For the first time, Luke realized what was happening. The galaxy had spent centuries fearing the nightmaw. Ships had prepared weapons, species had built defenses, entire civilizations had avoided contact. Yet here it was, calm and peaceful because one human had chosen patience over fear. Claire stepped closer. "Luke," she said, her voice soft, "we need to document this. We need to learn how you did it. The galaxy will never believe this unless we record it carefully." Luke nodded. He looked down at the creature. It was sleeping still, head on his lap, trusting him completely. "Okay," he said softly, "but we have to be careful. One wrong move and it could still be dangerous." The creature's slow breathing filled the room. Its chest rose and fell with steady rhythm. The red glow of its eyes was gone in sleep, replaced by a soft black sheen. Luke felt its warmth against him, and for the first time he was not afraid. He felt connected to it in a way he could not explain. The station outside continued to be chaotic, but inside the observation lounge, a new truth had formed. Fear did not always have to rule. Strength did not always come from weapons or force. Sometimes patience, calm, and understanding could tame even the deadliest of creatures. Luke could feel the eyes of the room on him, but he did not flinch. He did not try to control the situation. He simply stayed calm, letting the creature rest on his lap. The galaxy's deadliest creature had chosen trust, and for the first time, humans were the reason it felt safe. For hours, the creature remained sleeping, and Luke stayed with it. Scientists recorded every moment. Cameras captured the slow rise and fall of its massive body. Officers wrote notes. The story of the deadliest creature and the human who calmed it was beginning. And the galaxy had no idea how much this moment would change everything. Part 3. Fear turns into questions. The observation lounge remained quiet, a sharp contrast to the chaos echoing through the rest of the station. Outside, alarms continued to blare, doors were locked automatically, and security teams scoured corridors. Yet inside, the deadliest creature in the galaxy slept calmly on Luke Carter's lap. Scientists and officers could hardly believe their eyes. Some whispered to each other, their voices filled with awe and confusion. Claire Bennett, the human xenobiologist, studied the creature closely. Her hand hovered over a recording device as she noted every detail. She had spent decades observing dangerous species, but nothing like this had ever occurred. She turned to Luke and asked softly, "How do you keep it calm? You don't even touch it, and yet it trusts you completely." Luke shrugged, his eyes on the creature. "I don't know. I just stay calm. I don't make sudden moves, I don't shout, and I don't try to control it. It knows I won't hurt it." He paused. "That's all." Ben Parker, the tall security officer, shook his head in disbelief. "All this time we thought fear was the only way to handle it. Every guidebook, every record, every officer was told to be ready to fight or contain it immediately. But you didn't fight, you didn't even command it, and it trusted you." Vorak, the small blue alien scientist with 4 arms, stepped closer. He pointed to the Nightmaw's claws resting gently on the floor. "This is unprecedented," he said. "We have studied this species across multiple worlds. Every interaction documented ended in either destruction or escape. Never calm, never trust." He shook his head. "And yet, a human." The room fell silent for a moment. The only sound was the soft, even breathing of the sleeping Nightmaw. Its massive body rose and fell slowly, radiating warmth and calm. Luke rested his hands lightly on its head, and the creature made a soft, rumbling noise. It was not threatening, not aggressive, just content. Claire took a deep breath and turned to the assembled group. "We need to report this to the station council. They need to see what's happening. This could change everything we know about dangerous species management." Ben nodded, though still cautious. "If the council sees this, some of them will panic. They'll say the creature is too dangerous to be free, too unpredictable. We need to show them it's calm, that it can be trusted, at least with humans who know how to approach it." Luke looked down at the creature and smiled nervously. "I don't want it hurt. I just want them to understand." The council chamber was a large room, high ceilings with long windows looking out at the red star. Members of the station council sat in silence, reviewing reports as the emergency alarms continued. When Luke, Claire, and a few officers arrived, the council immediately noticed the tension in their faces. "What is it?" one of the council members demanded. She was a tall alien with green skin, long fingers, and bright amber eyes. Her voice was sharp. "Another breach," Luke spoke carefully. "Yes, the creature escaped containment, but it's calm. It's not attacking anyone. In fact, it's resting and it trusts me." The council members exchanged confused glances. One older human man said, "Resting? Trusting you? That's impossible. This species is the deadliest in the galaxy. It destroys everything in its path. Every record, every incident shows that. Are you saying it is tame?" Claire stepped forward. "Not tame exactly. It is intelligent. It understands when someone does not intend to harm it. Luke did not fight it, did not threaten it, and the creature responded. It shows trust, something no other species has ever achieved." A younger council member spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "But how? Why would a human succeed when every other species failed? Are we saying humans are different?" Luke shook his head. "I don't know why, I just stayed calm. I didn't try to control it. I think it can feel if someone wants to hurt it or not." Vorak added his voice, speaking carefully. "The galaxy has spent centuries fearing this creature. Ships avoided it. Colonies built defenses. And yet, one human, calm, patient, able to stay still and show no fear, the creature responded with trust. It may be that humans have an instinct other species do not." The council was quiet for a long moment, absorbing the information. Some members frowned, clearly uncomfortable. Others whispered to each other. The idea that humans might possess a quality no other species had considered made many uneasy. If humans could calm the deadliest creatures in the galaxy, what else could they achieve? An older alien council member, covered in gray scales, leaned forward. "This is troubling. If humans are capable of this, it challenges every theory we have about dangerous species, about control, about containment. We cannot ignore it, but we also cannot risk the creature escaping again." Claire spoke softly but firmly. "We are not asking to release it. We are asking to observe carefully and learn. The creature is calm, but only because of understanding, patience, and human presence. We can learn from this and prevent future incidents without fear." Ben added, "We have security measures in place. The creature is not attacking. It is under observation. We can monitor and ensure safety. But we cannot ignore the fact that a human has achieved what the galaxy thought impossible." The council members murmured among themselves. They were afraid, yes, but curiosity was stronger. Centuries of fear had told them one story. Now, a human had shown them another. They could not dismiss it. One member finally spoke. "We will allow observation, but we must have strict protocols. The creature cannot be allowed to roam freely. We must protect the station and its inhabitants, and the human will remain with it for now. The outcome of this experiment may determine how we interact with dangerous species in the future." Luke nodded quietly. He did not want fame or reward. He only wanted the creature to be safe. "I will stay with it," he said, "and we will learn slowly, carefully." The council agreed. Cameras were installed in the observation lounge. Security teams were stationed at the door, but they were instructed not to interfere unless the creature showed aggression. Every action would be recorded, every moment documented. Over the next hours, the creature remained calm. It shifted slightly, adjusting its position on Luke's lap, but never threatened anyone. Scientists measured its breathing, heart rate, and body temperature. They noted its reactions to voice, movement, and presence. Every observation confirmed the same truth. The creature responded to calmness, patience, and understanding. Luke sat quietly, hands resting lightly on the creature's head. He spoke softly, telling it stories of Earth, of forests and rivers, of animals humans had learned to coexist with. The creature listened in its own way, its massive eyes occasionally opening to blink at him, then closing again. Claire watched closely. "It is mirroring his calmness," she whispered to Ben. "It is learning from him, not just trusting him. Humans, they may be teaching the galaxy something new." Ben nodded slowly. "I never thought I'd see the deadliest creature in the galaxy lying peacefully on a human lap. It changes everything." Vorak scribbled notes rapidly. "The entire galaxy may need to rethink containment, observation, and diplomacy. Humans may have an ability we never considered." As the day passed, the station slowly adapted to the new reality. Alarms were silenced in observation areas. Cameras recorded every gentle movement. Security teams remained alert but relaxed, and Luke continued to sit with the Nightmaw, quietly, patiently, showing the galaxy that understanding could be stronger than fear. By the time the red star began to cast long shadows across the observation lounge, a new question hung in the air. If a human could calm the deadliest creature in the galaxy, what other impossible things could humanity accomplish? For the first time in history, the galaxy began to question its long-held fears. And Luke Carter, quietly sitting with the Nightmaw, realized that he was part of something far bigger than he had ever imagined. Humanity's calmness, patience, and understanding might be the key to changing the galaxy forever. Part 4. Humanity's quiet strength. The station was still tense, though the observation lounge had become a place of unusual calm. Outside, alarms echoed in the long corridors, but inside, Luke Carter sat with the Nightmaw, the deadliest creature in the galaxy. It lay on his lap, breathing slowly, its massive body relaxed. Scientists and security officers observed in silence, taking notes and recording every detail. Claire Bennett paced quietly near the recording equipment, her eyes fixed on the creature. "This is unprecedented," she whispered to Vorak. "No species has ever been able to calm it." "And yet Luke has. It's incredible." Vorak, scribbling furiously on a data pad, nodded. "It's not just calm. It is responsive to him. It mirrors his actions, his tone of voice, even his breathing. Humans may have an instinct for handling dangerous species that no one else does." Ben Parker, the security officer, leaned against a wall. "I've seen humans deal with dangerous animals on Earth, but this is beyond anything I imagined. The creature could crush the station if it wanted, and yet it doesn't. It listens to him. It trusts him." Luke looked down at the Nightmaw, brushing a hand gently over its scales. The creature shifted slightly but remained relaxed. Luke spoke softly, telling stories of Earth's forests and oceans, of animals humans had learned to live alongside. The creature seemed to listen, its large eyes opening briefly to meet his gaze before closing again. Claire smiled. "It's learning from him," she said softly, "not just trusting him but responding to him. Humans may teach the galaxy something new. Patience and calmness can be stronger than force." The council had ordered strict observation protocols. Cameras covered every angle, and sensors measured the creature's vitals continuously. Every scientist present was instructed not to touch or approach the creature without Luke's guidance. Slowly, everyone began to notice a pattern. When Luke was calm, the creature was calm. When he moved too quickly or spoke harshly, it stirred, uneasy. Over the next few hours, the station experimented carefully. They introduced other humans into the room, always under Luke's supervision. Some were scared at first, their hands shaking, voices trembling. Yet when Luke instructed them to stay calm, speak softly, and make no sudden movements, the Nightmaw remained relaxed. It even allowed them to approach its massive body without aggression. Ben watched this with growing amazement. It's like the creature can sense human intent. Not just words, not just actions, but intent. It's reacting to trust, patience, understanding. This is extraordinary. Vorak, still taking notes, added, "This could change the way we handle dangerous species across the galaxy. We've always relied on force, cages, weapons, and fear. Humans have demonstrated a method that requires none of these. It's quiet, yet far more powerful. Luke continued to sit patiently, letting the creature rest. He noticed small signs of affection. The nightmaw's massive head would nuzzle his shoulder lightly, or its tail would wrap gently around him. These gestures, subtle but meaningful, amazed everyone in the room. The galaxy had labeled this species as a monster, incapable of trust or gentleness. Yet here it was, showing loyalty and calmness to a single human. Claire spoke to the assembled scientists. "Record every detail. We must understand how humans achieve this. If we can replicate even a fraction of this behavior across species, we can prevent countless conflicts. We can avoid unnecessary violence. The galaxy may finally understand the true power of patience." As the day continued, other humans were brought into the observation lounge. Luke guided them. "Move slowly, speak softly, breathe evenly. Don't think about fear or control. Just show that you mean no harm." To everyone's amazement, the Nightmare responded to them as well. Though not as strongly as with Luke, it tolerated their presence. It even allowed one of the human technicians to lightly touch its snout, a gesture unheard of before. The creature's calmness grew, slowly spreading to the humans in the room. The atmosphere was filled with quiet respect, awe, and wonder. Ben shook his head. "I've been part of security teams all my life. I've handled dangerous creatures, violent species, and countless crises, but nothing has ever compared to this. Humans, we have a kind of strength that doesn't need weapons. It's subtle, quiet, and yet it works on the deadliest being in the galaxy." Claire nodded. "It's not just about fearlessness. It's about empathy, understanding, and calm intent. Humans can connect with creatures in a way others cannot. The galaxy has underestimated this for too long." Vorak added thoughtfully, "The implications are huge. If humans can calm this creature, what else could they achieve? Diplomacy, first contact, conflict resolution. Perhaps humans are uniquely suited for tasks we cannot even imagine." As the hours passed, Luke remained with the Nightmare, observing and guiding it. He learned small things, how it reacted to certain tones, to subtle gestures, and even to silence. The creature's responses were nuanced, intelligent, and gentle. It had immense power, yet it chose to cooperate when approached correctly. For the first time, the Council realized that containment by fear and force was not always the answer. They had spent centuries building weapons, cages, and defenses against the deadliest species in the galaxy. Now, a single human had shown them that calmness, patience, and understanding could achieve far more than aggression ever could. A council member spoke cautiously. "We need to rethink all containment protocols. If this method works, we may prevent future disasters without violence. Humans may hold the key to peaceful interaction with even the most dangerous species." Luke looked down at the Nightmare, who lifted its massive head slightly, resting it back on his lap. The gesture was simple yet profound. It was trust, acknowledgement, and acceptance. In that moment, Luke understood the truth. Humanity's greatest strength was not in weapons, not in numbers, but in the quiet ability to connect, to understand, and to calm even the most feared beings in the galaxy. Outside the observation lounge, the station slowly returned to a state of cautious normalcy. Alarms were silenced in sections away from the creature. Security teams remained vigilant but relaxed. The story of the deadliest creature and the human who calmed it began to spread quietly through the station. Whispers traveled the corridors. Humans had a unique strength, one that could change the galaxy forever. Over the next several days, the Nightmare continued to interact with Luke under careful observation. Other humans learned from his example. They discovered that force and fear were not always necessary. Calmness, patience, and trust could achieve results thought impossible. The creature even began responding to multiple humans at once, showing subtle signs of recognition and affection. Claire observed the behavior and wrote notes rapidly. This is history in the making. Humans have demonstrated a power beyond physical strength or weapons. They have achieved what the galaxy considered impossible. It's not dominance, it's connection. And it works. Ben leaned back in his chair, watching quietly. I never thought I'd see the deadliest creature in the galaxy resting peacefully while humans learn from it. We may have underestimated humanity for centuries. Their quiet strength, it may be the galaxy's greatest hope. Luke continued to speak softly to the creature, telling it stories of Earth, of humans learning to coexist with dangerous animals. The Nightmaw listened, its massive eyes occasionally opening to meet his gaze, then closing again. Each small gesture of trust reinforced the lesson. Patience, understanding, and calm intent could tame even the most feared beings. By the time the red star cast long shadows across the observation lounge, humanity's quiet strength had been proven. The deadliest creature in the galaxy had chosen trust over fear, cooperation over destruction, all because a single human had remained calm and patient. The galaxy, once ruled by fear of the Nightmaw, now faced a new reality. Humans possessed a strength that no weapon could match. And as the creature slept gently on Luke's lap, the station slowly began to understand that the true power of humanity was not in force, but in the ability to calm, connect, and inspire trust even in the most dangerous of beings. Part 5. A new galactic truth. The observation lounge was quiet again, a calm haven amid the chaos of the station. The Nightmaw, the deadliest creature in the galaxy, lay curled around Luke Carter, resting its massive head gently on his lap. Its breathing was slow and even. Its claws, which could cut through reinforced steel, rested lightly on the floor. For the first time in recorded history, the creature was at peace with a human. Outside the lounge, the station's council had convened an emergency meeting. News of the human who had calmed the Nightmaw spread quickly. Members of the council debated what they had seen. Some were shocked, others cautious, and a few were skeptical. But all agreed on one thing: this event could not be ignored. Claire Bennett presented her observations. The Nightmaw has never shown trust to any species, she said firmly. It responds to calmness, patience, and understanding. Luke has demonstrated that humans can achieve what no other species in the galaxy has. This is a new kind of strength. One council member, a tall alien with silver scales, spoke carefully. If humans can calm the deadliest creature in the galaxy, what does this mean for containment protocols, for diplomacy, for first contact with dangerous species? Vorak, the small blue alien scientist, added, "It means we may have misunderstood dangerous creatures for centuries. Force and fear are not always the answer. Humans have shown a way to achieve peace without aggression. We must learn from them." Luke, who had been quietly sitting with the Nightmaw, stood up slowly. "I didn't do anything special," he said softly. "I just stayed calm. I didn't try to hurt it or control it. I just let it know I meant no harm. The creature chose to trust me." We humans have learned to handle dangerous things with patience and care. Maybe the galaxy needs to try that too. The council members exchanged looks. Some were still wary, but the evidence was undeniable. Recordings from the observation lounge showed the Nightmaw sleeping peacefully, responding gently to human presence. Reports documented how it mirrored Luke's calmness, how it allowed touch, and how it responded to voice and intent. An older council member covered in green scales spoke at last. "We cannot ignore this. The Nightmaw's behavior has proven that humans possess a strength no one else does. Their ability to connect, to inspire trust, to remain calm in the face of fear, it is extraordinary. Humanity must be recognized for this." Claire smiled. "This is bigger than one creature. If humans can handle the Nightmaw, they can handle other dangerous species too. Diplomacy, peacekeeping, first contact, they can succeed where others fail. The galaxy may have underestimated them for too long." Outside the council chambers, news of the event spread to other stations and colonies. Scientists, explorers, and diplomats began discussing the humans' unique abilities. Whispers became conversations, and conversations became debates. The galaxy slowly realized that humanity's strength was not in numbers, weapons, or technology alone. It was in understanding, patience, and calm intent. Back in the observation lounge, Luke continued to sit with the night maw. The creature's eyes opened slowly, glowing softly, and it nudged his shoulder with its massive snout. Luke smiled. "You're safe," he whispered. "We'll make sure no one hurts you." Security officers and scientists observed quietly, taking notes. The lesson was clear. A calm approach, patience, and empathy could achieve results that force and fear never could. Humanity had shown the galaxy that strength was not only physical, it was emotional and mental as well. The Council decided to reclassify the Nightmaw. No longer was it labeled a monster, a threat, or a deadly predator. It was now recognized as a sentient guardian species. Containment would no longer rely on fear or weapons. Instead, humans and other species trained in patience and understanding could interact with it safely. The galaxy began to see that trust could replace fear. Vorax spoke during the council announcement. "This changes everything. Humans have proven that they can handle what others cannot. Their quiet strength is a lesson for all species. We must study and learn from them." Ben Parker, watching the scene unfold, nodded to Luke. "I never thought I'd see the deadliest creature in the galaxy resting peacefully on a human's lap. Humanity has shown a new kind of power today, one that the galaxy cannot ignore." Luke looked down at the Nightmaw. The massive creature shifted, nudging him again softly. It was a gesture of trust and gratitude. He gently stroked its scales, feeling the warmth of its body. "We'll be friends," he said softly. "We'll show the galaxy that understanding is stronger than fear." The galaxy began to take note. Messages from distant colonies, space stations, and explorers arrived. Many species expressed shock and curiosity. They asked how humans had achieved this, how they could learn the same patience and calm approach. Humanity's reputation grew, not for weapons, speed, or conquest, but for their ability to connect, to calm, and to inspire trust. Scientists began designing programs to teach other species the methods Luke had used: patience, calmness, empathy, and careful observation. Training centers were established. Diplomats learned to approach dangerous creatures with respect and care. The galaxy slowly shifted from fear-driven policies to understanding-driven strategies. The Nightmaw continued to rest with Luke, and the two formed an unspoken bond. It was clear that this creature, feared by all for generations, had found safety and trust in a human. And humanity, in turn, had learned that true strength sometimes meant restraint, patience, and quiet understanding. Over time, humanity's reputation grew as a species capable of facing the impossible without violence. Colonies sought their help for first contact with unknown creatures. Fleets consulted their methods when encountering dangerous worlds. Humans became respected not just for what they could build or fight, but for what they could teach: trust, patience, and empathy in the face of fear. Luke often sat with the Nightmaw, now named Shadow, sharing stories, singing softly, and simply being present. Shadow had grown comfortable with humans around, allowing scientists and officers to study it safely. The creature became a symbol across the galaxy, proof that patience and understanding could tame even the deadliest beings. As the red star set on the horizon of the station, Luke looked out at the endless expanse of space. He realized that humanity had not only saved the station, but had changed the galaxy's perspective forever. They had shown that strength was not only in weapons or force, but in calmness, trust, and empathy. And in that quiet moment, with Shadow resting peacefully at his side, Luke understood the true lesson. Sometimes, the most powerful force in the galaxy is not fear, violence, or dominance. It is patience, understanding, and the courage to remain calm when everyone else is afraid. The galaxy, once ruled by fear of the Nightmaw, had begun to understand humanity's truth. And humanity, through quiet strength and compassion, had opened a door to a future where even the most feared creatures could be allies, where understanding could replace fear, and where the galaxy could finally see the true power of humans. The deadliest creature in the galaxy slept peacefully on a human's lap, and the galaxy slowly learned that sometimes the calmest heart can hold the greatest power.